Flying through the air on a private luxury jet to a private island where the sun will never set, locked inside a vault. If the public, the names are on a list, locked inside a vault. If the public finds out this, it's someone else's fault. Hey, jingle bells, legal spells, redactions all the way. Oh, what fun it is to see the names come out today. Hey, jingle bells, hotel dwells, the cameras went away. Oh, what fun it is to hide what the witnesses might say. Ladies and gentlemen, the Epstein files have dropped today. Unfortunately, the files that were dropped were mostly redacted. When I say redacted, I mean you can't make heads or tails out of anything on those files there. They are all blacked out. Some pages are completely black, completely, except for a few words at the bottom. This says the government in the criminal. This one says, third, it's essential that Ms. Maxwell be able to share with Judge Preska, and then the rest is all redacted. This is a joke. This is a cover-up. We are going to get into this, and we're going to get into the troll president who is renaming the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center. And we're also going to get into why the GOP thinks that starving us from healthcare will make their crappy ideas more palatable to us. So I hope you're ready to get into it, because I am. Let's go. Storytime. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Bad. Happy Friday, everyone, and actually happy Red Friday. Today, fun fact, today is Red Friday. I just learned this today. Red Friday is a day in which we commemorate and we give thanks to our service members, servicemen and women serving overseas. So to those of you who are serving our country abroad, we thank you for your service, and we wear red to remind folks to, to appreciate your sacrifice and your service for our country. So yeah, this was yet another insane week. All I want for Christmas is a non-insane week. Can I get that? Can we get 1 week where the wheels are not falling off the bus and the bus is not plummeting over the edge of a cliff? Can I get that just for 1 week? 1 week when the crazy, insane, attention deprived president can just chill the F out. Can he just chill out? Take a break from trolling people. We know you're not going to do any real work. We know you golf and you troll, and that's about it. And you grift. Excuse me. You grift. You do. So take a break from those things and just let the rest of us catch our freaking breath. God damn. Anyway. Let's see who we have here. Okay, at the top here, we got Frank Garcia, who's tuning in from Twitter and says, if there was nothing to hide because Trump did nothing wrong, ... why the redactions? That is an excellent question. Excellent question. And we know he's in the files because it's been confirmed. Who has it been confirmed by? His chief of staff. The Trump Reaper is up there at the top, along with Valerie G., Meredith Powell, Lucy, the Annie 41, Bernadette H is here. Let's see. Sharon Landry is here. Ness from Connecticut. Mama AG. Gark 2. She's driving. Well, drive carefully. Don't. Oh, wait. Is that AG? Welcome back, AG. Let me see. Tina Bradford is here. This is let's see, somebody named Ben Smith, who's changed from Twitter. And, sorry, it's not for whatever reason. Let's see. That is here. Can you guys still hear me? Hello. Hey. It's me there. Hello. Well, that's crazy. Okay, so apparently the powers that be, sound is off. Let's see, bad audio, sound is wonky. Can you guys hear me okay now? It says picture is gone, video is frozen. I am back. I'm guessing that was what the issue was. That I was having some internet connectivity problems. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into today's. Oh yeah, there's more redactions right there. Today's episode, she confirmed it. Also, it's a cover up. I am by the she, I'm referring to Susan Wiles, Donald Trump's chief of staff, who had a lot of things to say across a span of 11 interviews, in which apparently she didn't realize that she was on the record, because she did she did spill a lot of tea. And there was a picture spread that ruffled some feathers across the right wing. They were big mad, even though this picture looks absolutely fine to me. I don't see a problem with it at all. That one. That one's rough. But I say this. I say, evil rots you from the inside. So, some of you might have seen the tweet I posted where I had a side by side with me and Carolyn Levitt here, side by side. I'm 57. She's 28. I look younger than she does. And then this week, Donald Trump had a bizarre, ranty, shouty, very angry, just weird speech in the White House in front of a bunch of Christmas stuff, which, the picture was weird. Like, you're in front of this joyous stuff, but and he's bragging about his accomplishments, but because he's also he's slamming he's slamming Joe Biden and the Democrats so much, his joyous message gets muddled, and he's just angry for that. That could have been an email, bro. That could have been a text message or a tweet, a Truth Social. You didn't have to interrupt Survivor, for crying out loud. And last but not least, the Republicans have let Americans down. And as a result, on December 31st, the ACA subsidies are expiring, and that's leaving a lot of people in the lurch, and that includes yours truly. Make sure, if this is your first time here, you hit the like button. The like button is the thumbs up there. And also, please hit the subscribe button in your lower hand corner of your screen. Joanne Kennedy is here, and she says, the rats are leaving. Bye-bye, Stefanik. Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that, too. That was bonus. That was bonus news we just found out today, which I promise I will cover that. But yeah, first let's talk about this interview. Vanity Fair. I don't think I've ever read Vanity Fair magazine. But here's what's interesting. So this week, big news came out that that Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, gave 11 different interviews to a reporter for Vanity Fair. And I was literally just wondering, I was like, damn, we never hear anything from Susie Wiles. And I thought that's weird because you hear plenty from Stephen Miller. You hear from, obviously, Carolyn Levitt. You hear even from that guy, Doug Burgum. Doug Burgum, you hear more from than Susie Wiles. And granted, you don't want the chief of staff to overshadow the president. I don't think that's possible with a guy like Trump. But she was absolutely saying nothing until this interview. And when this interview happened, I was reading, and I was like, wait, did she realize that it's going to be printed in magazine and read by everybody, including her boss? It was pretty crazy. In addition, yeah, there was a pictorial spread, which, got a lot of it's got a lot of scrutiny. A lot of people on the right were complaining about it. They thought it was mean and malicious. If I'm being honest, it does look like the photographer was feeling some kind of way when he took these pictures. Obviously, the one on the left is a meme showing the cabinet members dressed as clowns. They might as well be. But the picture on the right there is of Susie Wiles, and she looks like a deer in the headlights. And it says, Wiles is the most powerful person Trump's White House, other than the president himself. Unlike any chief of staff before her, she is a woman. But what's interesting is that she's not doing herself any favors by comparison to other chiefs of staff. In fact, she's doing herself a disservice, because rather than be instrumental in helping to steer responsible action from the president, she is acting as a bystander, a facilitator, an enabler of his worst impulses. And that's no good. So here's the actual picture right here. And it looks like the photographer was going for a carbon copy of the picture taken by George W. Bush and his cabinet. And when you look at it, wow, how far we have fallen as a country, that the people representing the president of the United States is a motley crew of underwhelming, unqualified buffoons. And the pictures were hilarious. Actually, it was my favorite part of this Vanity Fair article. On the far left there, you've got J.D. Vance, which, if I'm being honest, even this picture is a bit of an improvement on the big bubblehead photos we've seen of him. The one in the middle, where Marco Rubio looks like he's about 4'6", is hilarious. He looks tiny. And I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with Donald Trump's original nickname for him, which was Lil Marco. And you know what? I guess in these magazines, I guess why people are upset is because magazine articles are known for airbrushing, right? Everybody gets airbrushed to oblivion. They take out their imperfections, they make them look good. But in the case of Carolyn Levitt, she is such a reprehensible person, and I say that from the bottom of my heart, because it's clear that she is intelligent, right? It's clear she's articulate, she's smart, but she is using her powers for evil. She stands in front of us and she tells blatant lies. Donald Trump talks about her lips. Her lips, they move like a machine gun. But her lips are also pockmarked with injection holes for her, what do they call that thing? Botox. They put the Botox in her lips there. Totally unnecessary, but whatever. And in fact, I think I've seen pictures of her before she did the Botox and whatever plastic surgery work. I thought she looked fine. I thought she was pretty, and now she's slowly getting Mar-a-Lago face, and that's not a good thing. Personally, I don't care. I think if she lied a lot less, right? I think maybe her exterior would change. I could be wrong. But here, I showed this because this is the spread that this picture was meant for. And now it makes sense to me, artistically. My day job for 14 years was as an art director. And I would say that I like this. Sure, the image is not flattering, but it is what it is. And I respect it. I respect what he did. Hey, nobody, when you agree to do a magazine spread or a magazine article, nobody's promising that they're going to make you look like a celebrity or a superstar. They just say, hey, we're going to take pictures of you and put it in there. Bada bing, bada boom. So anyway, one of the things that I thought was incredible about what Susie Wiles had to tell this Vanity Fair reporter over the span of 11 different interviews was that she said that Trump had like an alcoholic personality or mentality. So basically saying that he thinks he can do, oh wait, this is not good. Let me go here. Basically, he thinks he can do anything, right? An alcoholic, they're off balance, they get belligerent. They want to fight with somebody. They think they're stronger and better than they are, et cetera, et cetera. And she said that based on the fact that her father was alcoholic. So, yeah. And then she tried, she said a whole lot of stuff there. She said that Pam Bondi, this was interesting about the Epstein files. She said that Pam Bondi whiffed big time on the Epstein files, on setting expectations for people. And she called out the fact that Pam Bondi rolled out these binders full of nothingness. Wait, where is it? Do I have that? Yeah. Binders full of nothingness. Yeah, this was hilarious. But more importantly, going back here, she made it clear that that she wasn't there to guide Donald Trump. She wasn't there to babysit him. She was there to enable his agenda, his policies. And that's unfortunate because, again, it does seem like she sees what's going on and she has disagreed with a lot of the things that he's done. She's disagreed with some of his more base decisions and his outbursts. But at the end of the day, she doesn't believe it's her job, excuse me, to steer him. I think that's wrong, personally. Oh, and excuse me, Broy Joey says she walked it all back now. Interesting. She tried to. She tried saying that she tried refuting some of the comments that were reported. But of course, any reporter worth his worth a damn is going to record it, and that indeed is what the reporter did. They have tapes. Lordy, there are tapes. So she can try to walk it back all she wants. It is what it is. It's like people try to say, "Oh, you lied. I'm going to sue you for defamation." All right, okay. Let's go to court and we can go through that whole discovery process. And I don't think you're going to enjoy that so much. But the important part, I think, is that she did confirm that Trump is in in the Epstein files, and she cushions that by saying he's not in the file doing anything awful. So now that we know that Susie Wiles, again, is not there to correct him, but to coddle and enable him, half of what she said is kind of suspect. When she says anything negative, you can imagine that the reality is worse. She did confirm that he was on Epstein's plane, that he's on the manifest. She talked about the relationship Trump had with Epstein. Now, Trump has tried to deny his friendly friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. That's just blatantly false. He's in more pictures with Jeffrey Epstein than he is with Eric Trump or Barron. But she did, again, she said that she didn't find anything unforgivable regarding him. So I think she's half of the time in this interview, she's telling half truths that she doesn't think are going to get her in trouble. Now, mind you, all day when this article came out, everybody from Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Doug Burgum, everyone in the entire cabinet came out full court press to try to back up Susie Wiles and say, "Hey, she's a great person, and we love her, and she's wonderful, and blah 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 blah." I'd never seen that before. Everybody all coming out to back her. It's very interesting. The birthday card. She tried to deny that Trump had made a birthday card for Jeffrey Epstein. And that goes back to when that first came out from the estate, and everybody was doing handwriting analysis. That's his handwriting. That's his signature. It has changed over the years, like everybody's signature, but yeah, that is his trademark signature. So I find it interesting for a guy who said that he didn't have a relationship or a close friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. He tried to downplay that. Why are you bringing your kids around this guy? And this guy is a scoundrel. Not just a scoundrel, he's a scumbag. He is a creep. Creep is the strongest thing that Trump has been able to call Jeffrey Epstein post-mortem, after Jeffrey Epstein died. He hasn't said anything stronger. He hasn't called him a pedophile. He hasn't called him a lowlife or a scumbag or half of the things that he calls elected officials in America. He's very careful. He called him a creep. And he was only mad at Epstein because Epstein was taking his girls, his massage girls. So another interesting fact is that she said, she, as in Susie Wiles, said that Bill Clinton, she says, There is no evidence for Trump's claims that Bill Clinton visited Epstein's island 28 times, saying the president was wrong about that. Personally, I couldn't care less. I'll say this, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you had something to do with hurting children, hurting little girls or little boys with Jeffrey Epstein or with whomever, you don't exist to me. You're not part of my party. If you're a Democrat, you're dead to me. If you're a Republican, same thing. If you're unaffiliated, I don't care what it is. Rich, poor, powerful, I think this should be a bipartisan position. I think this should transcend all of our differences. We have differences about abortion, about gun control, about health care, blah, blah, blah. We should all be in agreement on this. If nothing else, this is the one thing that should bring us together. And the fact that these Epstein files came out today, and it's not even the full Epstein files. It's not even a complete one. It's partial. They said there are hundreds of thousands of files, and we only got maybe half or a third of them. This bullshit is the best you could do. You had 30 days to redact just the names of the victims. This is more than the names of the victims. This is everything. This is a joke. This is a cover-up. That's what this is. This is not transparency. This is bullshit. And for the jackasses who keep saying, oh, well, why didn't Joe Biden? Shut the hell up. Why didn't Joe Biden? Joe Biden isn't the one who promised to release those files. And by the way, why didn't Joe Biden? Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted in 2021. I think it was June 2021. And all of the files associated with her case were locked up until 2025. Or I think it was December 2024. Nothing we could do. They kept asking for extensions, and the Supreme Court, the 6-3 Supreme Court, kept extending. So that's what it is. The point is, you shouldn't be asking, why didn't Joe Biden do it? Donald Trump had access to Jeffrey Epstein when he was arrested in 2019. Why didn't he release the files then? We could go back that far, too. It's ridiculous. The point is, he has control of the House and the Senate, the Department of Justice, the Supreme Court, everything. There's no excuse. He's the one who campaigned on releasing the files. He promised you guys, not us. He promised you. He rolled out these ridiculous binders that had nothing. Because he thought you guys were rubes, fools, buffoons, that you guys would go for it. And you did. And you did, because here you are now playing the deflection game. Oh, we don't care about pedophiles anymore. We just care if Democrats are pedophiles. We are not the same. The other night, Donald Trump, in the midst of controversy and questions about what Donald Trump was going to do with Venezuela, there was a lot of controversy. Thank you, Sandra from Paramount, California. Thank you for that. In the midst of people asking, what the hell is Donald Trump going to do with Venezuela? Is he going to invade? He was, talking big about, I don't need Congress to approve land strikes in Venezuela. Actually, yes, you do, because that's an act of war, and only Congress can declare war. In the midst of all that, in the midst of 2 more boats being obliterated in the water, in the midst of him making a lot of big noise about that and saying regime change and this and that and and um, and seizing a major Venezuelan oil tanker and saying we want our oil back because you took it from us. He, out of the blue, said, I'm making a very important speech. This was Wednesday night. Very important speech. So this speech basically ended up being a rant about, Biden, about Democrats, about prices. You see, Donald Trump's approval ratings have been plummeting. They are so bad that even Republicans, even Fox News cannot avoid telling the truth about these things because it's right there. Inflation, he loves to talk about how Joe Biden had inflation at 9%. Yeah, it was at 9% in 2022. Full 3 years before Donald Trump took over. Shortly thereafter, it came right down. And in December of 2024, inflation was at 2.9%. What's inflation at right now? 3%. Donald Trump has been sitting in the Oval Office for 11 months, and the inflation is exactly where Joe Biden left it. Actually, it ticked up 0.1%. So, Donald Trump, if you're pissed, you only have yourself to be pissed at. You've spent 11 months dicking around playing golf and playing games and trolling people. I'm going to show you a excerpt from his thing. Let's see, here it is right here. Hell?
Into our country. Do you remember when Joe Biden's last administration and their allies in Congress under the Biden administration, Democrat politicians under Biden, and the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and it's their fault. It is not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. And the Democrat Party, the radical left Democrat, 30 to 100% under Biden. The Democrat inflation disaster, $15,000 under Democrat rule. The worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
Wait. Excuse me, hang on. That last part, the screaming. He screamed Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Jesus Christ, man. That was my eardrums are still concussed from that speech. It's hilarious. And the funny thing is, from January of 2025 until April of 2025, inflation was actually starting to tick down. Right, it was starting to tick down slowly but surely, from like 3% to 2.8%, 2.7%, and then he did the tariffs, and then inflation started going back up again. So You got nobody to blame but yourself, Don. And MAGA, I got to ask you, right? When you elected Donald Trump, did you elect somebody to make a bunch of excuses? Huh? Or did you elect somebody who said, I alone can fix it? Right? Wasn't he the guy who said, on day one, I will address affordability. On day one, I will work on lowering grocery prices. On day one, I will get rid of inflation. On day one, I will end the Ukraine war. He made a lot of big talk. So is that what you guys voted for? Huh? A guy who promises everything and delivers nothing? He said he was going to deport the worst of the worst, and all he's deported are like a bunch of grandmas, abuelas, and kids, and U.S. citizens, for crying out loud. That's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Oh, here's my thing here. Yeah, here's his deranged Truth Social thing where he says he's ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers. Such time they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and other assets they previously stole from us. Huh? What? Venezuela stole land from us? Where? Which land did they steal? Huh? You want to point that out to me? Was it like on the tip of Florida right there? Or was it like maybe by Maine or Alaska? Did they steal Alaska from? What land did they steal from us? It's deranged, man. It's deranged. Ilhan Omar posted a tweet saying Trump's illegal military strikes in Venezuela aren't about drugs. They're about regime change. But we must be clear, only Congress has the authority to declare war, not the president. We must pass our war powers resolution and reestablish Congress's power. It's been very disappointing to me how Congress has basically been sitting on the sidelines. When I say Congress, I mean Republican Congress, because Congress, Republicans run the House, they run the Senate, they run the government, right? So people who love to blame the shutdown on Democrats, you got it twisted. You got it twisted. Democrats aren't running anything. And when Democrats are in power, when we are in charge, we're not shutting down the government. Here's a little bit of fun news for you guys. Elise Stefanik made an announcement today. She said, while spending precious time with my family this Christmas season, I have made the decision to suspend my campaign for governor and will not seek re-election to Congress. Wait, I have a sound effect for that. And will not seek re-election for Congress. Okay. I am truly humbled and grateful for the historic and overwhelming support from Republicans, conservatives, independents, and Democrats all across the state for our campaign to save New York. Ha 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 ha. And I see Tina Bradford saying she needs a tailor, and that is correct, because if you look at that picture there on the right, you can see her pant hem, the hem of her pants are going past her toes. Let's see. Ken here says, you lying son of a bitch. What did I lie about, Ken? Point it out to me. If I lied about something, point that out to me. I'd love to see what you think I'm lying about here. So far, everything has been strong, heavy on the facts here. Heavy. I can back it up. I got the internet right here in front of me, so we can Google if you want to, step to your business and make a fool of yourself. You can point out what you think I lied about, and we'll fact check in real time. We currently have a troll for a president. Now, He was a troll in the first term as well, but it's gotten worse. And the only reason I say it's gotten worse is because he's not accomplishing anything, right? He's like spinning his wheels. The main thing he's been focused on has been, aside from immigration, or not even immigration, it's like deportation. And that's out of his hands. That's in mushmouth Tom Homan's hands, the deportation thing. So what has Trump been focused on? He's not focused on lowering grocery prices, right? He had to reverse his tariffs on coffee and coffee and something else because the price went too high. So he took the tariffs off coffee. So hold on a second. If you are taking off tariffs on coffee because prices are too high, what does that mean your tariffs do, smart guy, genius? What do tariffs do if you had to take the tariffs off to reduce the price? Get back to me on that. So yeah, since he's unable to accomplish any of his goals, and that even includes his retribution tour, he's trying to get Letitia James and James Comey, a bunch of other people indicted and convicted or whatever, and it all comes out as it's a vindictive prosecution. So he's even failing on that front too. So when he does shit like this wall of fame in the White House, so there's a long ass hallway in the White House, and he's put up a bunch of pictures of past presidents. Fine with me, right? It is the people's house, mind you, So yeah, I can appreciate, having a little history there, but he didn't just put their pictures up. He's trolling. He's trolling people. So he put up these plaques underneath the pictures and saying, like, for Joe Biden, he didn't even put a picture of Joe Biden. He put a picture of an auto pen. That's his latest obsession. He swears that Joe Biden only used auto pen, and so this is unbecoming. Number one, it's unbecoming to be so petty. To be so petty and vindictive, where this is supposed to be a fraternity of presidents. You are part of that fraternity, whether they invite you to the cookouts or not, that's a different story. But you're not supposed to be engaging in this kind of bullshittery, right? This is the people's house. It's not a MAGA house. It's the White House. It's for all of us. So when you do this, you're shitting on half of the country. It's disgusting. It's disgraceful. And it doesn't look bad on these guys, on Obama and Biden. He even inserted himself into Ronald Reagan's text. He said Ronald Reagan was a big fan of mine. Jesus Christ. Even in Andrew Jackson's plaque, he put his name in there too. Like, dude, it's not all about you, man. While Hakeem Jeffries went to meet with Donald Trump's CEO office to try to head off a gun shot, he is trolling Hakeem Jeffries with his Trump 2028 hats. And look at his face. Look at his face. This is not a serious person. Not a serious person. He's supposed to be keeping the government open. You're supposed to be discussing healthcare. How to keep healthcare going for 24 million Americans. Instead, you're indulging in that bullshit. And but I believe why flashing here. last but not least, even like the Kennedy Trump Center, but the Trump Kennedy Center, which is not legal. You can't do that. It has to be a congressional act to do that. So today, while everybody was coming out and saying you can't do that, he ordered people to go ahead and put his name on that building. And finally, person I never thought I would agree with. You guys remember Jenna Ellis? You know, the woman who Rudy Giuliani farted on and gave her COVID. Jenna Ellis tweeted and said, "Are we all finally tired enough of this presidency just being about Trump?" I was like, what the hell is going on? When Jenna Ellis is calling you out publicly, holy cow. It should be senators doing this, mind you. Senators and members and House representatives from the House should be doing this. Congressmen and women. She says, "I didn't vote for tacky revenge plaques and renaming buildings and cheap shots at murdered political opponents." She is referring to Rob Reiner, which I will also get to in a minute. She said that all might be ignorable if our movement was actually winning too. Huh? So you hear what she said. She said, if we were doing something, I could overlook this bullshit. But since he's not doing shit, this is ridiculous. It's like a child. She says, "I voted for We the People, not Trump's ego tour and staff glamour shots in Vanity Fair." Holy shit. Even Eric Erickson says, "This is just so third world African kleptocracy. Swap out Trump for Mugabe and it is the same sort of thing." Wow. Wow. Eric Erickson, mind you, is like a major conservative. So that's incredible. Like when I saw that, I was like blinking hard. So yeah, this past week we lost Rob Reiner, and it's very, very sad. Like just shocking. You know, when I say like we grew up, I'm including some of you guys who are kind of like around my age. If you might be 5 or 10 years younger or older, you grew up with Rob Reiner, right? If you grew up watching All in the Family like I did, Princess Bride, Spinal Tap, so many different movies that he did in so many different genres, Misery and Stand By Me. And, you know, everybody has quotable quotes from at least one of his movies and probably 3 of his movies. It's inconceivable, right? So yeah, he was anti-Trump. There's no secret there, right? But Donald Trump, at the end of the day, regardless of how he acts, that dude is still the president of the United States. And along with that title comes an expectation of a certain level of grace, of dignity, of self-respect and respect for the office. And he is not exhibiting that right now. In the wake of Rob Reiner being killed by his own son, allegedly, I have to say, if you had nothing to say positive, you could have said nothing at all. Or you could have just said, this is a tragic loss. We need to focus our efforts on mental health care. Something like that. Something bland, something generic. The man died the night before Donald Trump came out of his face and said that Rob Reiner was killed because he had TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Come on, man. Come on. I knew he was a piece of shit, but really it took that, because this is right in the wake of thousands of Republicans coming out in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death and being really upset about some people. I'm saying some people on the left, and I don't know if it was bots doing that, because everybody I know, all of like the prominent Democrats, they immediately came out and said, I condemn this, political violence is not the way, et cetera, et cetera. And we all acknowledge too, like I acknowledge one of my tweets was like, I disagreed with a lot of what Charlie Kirk had to say, but I don't think he should not have been killed for it. And a lot of us basically felt the same way, because guess what? On Twitter, I told you to share our opinion. And constantly, I have like dozens, maybe even hundreds of threats against my physical person. I've been on Twitter. It's just a fact. So watching that in real time, when I saw his death, I was mortified by that. I was literally shook. And I told you, I didn't like the guy. He said a lot of really shit about black people. I want to trust Black Pilot and Martin Luther King Jr. Don't even get me started on that. One is, he said a lot of shit. I don't think he should have killed for it. Right? Even Rob Reiner came out and said the same thing. Rob Reiner said, he was mortified by that. And he said, I have prayers and well wishes for his family, for Charlie Kirk's family, right? So my Substack this week was about when politics stopped for a moment and Trump couldn't. A test of humanity he didn't even try to pass. This is an excerpt from it saying, my sister and I watched the show All in the Family every week with our mother, howling with laughter at Archie Bunker's upside down logic. His worldview felt outdated and absurd to us, even though we were too young to fully grasp the political subtext. We understood something important, though. Archie was the buffoon. He was the bad guy. And yet, almost every episode managed to redeem him just enough to remind viewers that flawed people are still human. Michael and Gloria were the liberals, the woke characters of their era. They were right about most issues, but they could also be exhausting. Even as a kid, I remember thinking that constant moral vigilance looked tiring. Edith, meanwhile, held everything together, gently but firmly correcting Archie when it mattered most. And somehow, despite the arguments, despite the clashing beliefs, this family stayed together. Now, if you guys watched All in the Family, Archie Bunker's nickname for Rob Reiner's character, Michael Stivic, was Meathead, right? And they were constantly at it like this, at it nonstop, fighting. He called Michael a commie pinko. I swear to God, every time I get a troll on Twitter in the year 2025 calling me a commie, I'm like, where are you guys from? The 70s? Who's even still using that as a as a diss, for crying out loud? But then something strange happened the night that we learned that Rob Reiner died. And I had posted a few tweets about it. And we're reading the replies to my tweets, because I always do. Sometimes I get into it with the Trumper and sometimes I don't. But this was interesting. Several self-identified MAGA followers replied to my tweets saying things like, I hated his politics, but I loved his work. Or I disagreed with him, but this is devastating. That actually happened more than once. Rob Reiner, outspoken liberal though he was, transcended politics through his art. His work connected people long before MAGA, before social media, before everything became a loyalty test. Now, I was, I was young, like in the 70s and 80s. I was 10, I guess, 8 or 10 in the 70s. And then I was in my teens in the 80s. And this was the time before what you call political correctness. People said everything, every word that, like when we say the R word, it's meant for somebody who is mentally disabled, the R word. Nobody said the R word anymore. They said back then, they said the word, there's an H word or an F slur for people who are homosexual. They used to just say it. Nobody said the F slur or the H slur. They just said the word. I'm not saying that's good, because I like the idea that we're considerate of people, that you don't take a word to hurt somebody, to demean them, to say you are less than me. That's basically what those words do. The N word, that was like, that was putting somebody down, you were dirt. You were nothing to me. That's what those words mean. And people who don't acknowledge that, who say, oh, you're woke, this and that, you're just lazy. You're lazy and you're inconsiderate. And, eventually at some point, that shit is going to catch up with you. But just for a moment, for that night, people were kind of vibing. People were vibing about Rob Reiner and how they connected to him. And I think it was probably a lot of people around my age, because we remember the age before MAGA, right? The age before we were all so polarized we couldn't have a conversation anymore. Michael Stivic, Rob Reiner, and Archie Bunker lived in the same freaking house together. They lived in the same house and they made it work. They argued, yeah, but they made it work. And so for a night, for 12 hours that night, people were kind of vibing. And I think Donald Trump didn't like it. I think he liked the polarization. He didn't like the fact that MAGA and liberals were talking to each other for a minute. Just for a fucking minute. We were talking to each other without, hurling insults at each other. We actually agreed on something. He doesn't like that, because you take the hate away from Donald Trump and he has nothing. And already Donald Trump feels like he's losing power. He's losing his grip. He doesn't have his mojo anymore. 4 Republicans voted in favor of that dispatch position. The Indiana Republicans voted against his gerrymandering thing. He is losing his juice. That's why he wants to start a war. That's why he wants to have a speech where he's screaming at the screen. He's desperate. So, I find that interesting. Subsidies for the Affordable Care Act will expire on December 31st. Republicans did not even hold a vote to extend these subsidies. Luckily, a measure was passed to have for the dispatch. What is it? Damn it! The dispatch petition, so that so in the new year, 2026, January 6th, they will have a vote to do a clean 3-year extension of the subsidies. But for right now, that's not helping anybody. And that sucks for me and my wife, because she has surgery coming up early in January. And I don't know if we are covered. And if we're not covered, then we're screwed. We are screwed. I will say I don't do those GoFundMe's, but I will let you guys know. If it becomes desperate like that, I will let you know. Who will see the biggest increase? More than 400% of federal poverty level, $62,000 for a single person. The family of four, $128,000 will see the largest increase. Myself, our family, our insurance will go from $800 a month to almost $3,000 a month. That's insane. These four Republicans here broke ranks. Mike Lawler, Brian Fitzpatrick, Ryan McKenzie, and Rob Bresnahan all voted for the discharge petition, which will be voted on, like I said, in 2026. But so what is Republicans' alternative to the Affordable Care Act? Because their argument is, well, the Affordable Care Act sucks. It's broken. And you know what? I'm not going to argue with you, right? I think it could be improved. I think we should be paying less, right? Absolutely. I think we should be paying less, and I think we should be getting more and better benefits. But you don't throw out what's working without a plan to back it up. It's like if your apartment is drafty, you don't get somebody to take a wrecking ball to the entire building and knock it down if you don't have a new apartment to go to. Then you're just out in the cold, right? So here's what, in my opinion, what Republicans are trying to do by letting the ACA subsidies expire. Imagine you are in the desert. Imagine you've been in the desert for a week, maybe 2 weeks. No food, no water. Finally, you manage to crawl your way. Oh, and please also remember to please smash that like button. Thank you, Samantha, for the reminder. I always forget to say that. Smash that like button, please. Imagine you get out of the desert, finally, and you find a stale cracker that has been dipped in feces. I know it's disgusting, but there's a reason for it. That's the only bit of food that's around. You take that cracker and you gobble it up, and it tastes like the best cracker you have ever had. The stale cracker tinged with shit tastes delicious. Why? Because you have spent so much time without food that the first bit of food you get is scrumptious. So that is what Republicans are trying to do. They're trying to throw us all out into the cold without health insurance, any kind of health insurance whatsoever, and let us suffer, right? They don't care how much pain, because in Mike Johnson's view, it's only 7% of Americans being affected. Still, that's 24 million people. That's nothing to turn your nose up at. They're still Americans. You have nothing, right? You don't have a plan. You don't even have a concept of a plan. But instead of extending those subsidies while you continue to work on a solution, you decide that you are going to throw everybody out in the cold, and then we have to accept whatever piece of shit solution you come up with. A stale cracker dipped in shit. That's disgusting. So, to that, I have another Christmas jingle. I'm dreaming of affordable health care, just like the kind I used to have, where the premium stayed steady and I was ready to pay for more than just a salve. I'm dreaming of affordable health care with every subsidy they kill. Now my costs are through the roof. I'm the living proof of a $2,000 monthly bill. Actually make that $3,000. God damn it. It's going to be brutal. Yeah. So the reason I'm doing these jingles is because a few years ago I did a thing where I was singing botched lyrics to Christmas songs as part of my as doing my part in the war on Christmas. You know how Republicans are constantly complaining that there's a war on Christmas. I don't know where they get this. You know, I say Merry Christmas, man. My house is done up to the everything with the lights, and we got a Christmas tree. Actually, last year we had 2 Christmas trees, et cetera, et cetera. I don't get it. And here's a funny thing. You claim that there is a war on Christmas, but your president, the guy in the White House, is telling people they can only buy 2 pencils for their kids. 2 pencils for the kids and 2 dolls. That's insane. But we're the ones the war on Christmas. What is the point of that, huh? Are you guys not sick and tired of the fake culture wars? There's enough for us to argue about. You got to create shit, right? Like they went on a thing for a while about Sydney Sweeney. Hey, aren't you mad about Sydney Sweeney? I was like, who? Sydney Sweeney, you know? No. Why am I supposed to be mad? You know the genes. Good genes. Oh, that's actually funny. Morons. Got nothing better to do. So anyway, a few years ago, I did a thing. Some of you old timers for the show may remember my jingle here. If you don't remember, I'm going to play it for you right now. Hi guys, Brooklyn Dad here. You know, Christmas is almost upon us. And I wanted you all to know that I am doing my absolute very best in the war on Christmas. You know, things like telling people at Walmart, Happy Holidays, waiting until the very last possible moment to break out our Christmas decorations. But most importantly, I've been intentionally botching the lyrics of some of our most beloved Christmas carols on my show, Storytime with BDD. Get yourself a vaccination and a booster while you're at it. It's much better than a ventilator, 'cause breathing is a pretty good habit. That COVID is dangerous. Go get your vaccine now. You know Eric and Junior, Ivanka and Jared, Kaylee and Rudy, Melania, Bannon. I'm screaming at a white supremacist, like the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys. Jen Psaki, spanking Ducey, Saki bomb, it's a doozy. Spanky baby, you really lost the election big. You pig. You are the bigliest loser ever. You peed in my car. You peed in my car. You peed in my car. You better clean it. That's so bizarre. Have a drink and then a little dank stank. Make your stank a blank. Crotchy, the mailman, always has mail in his crotch. Why does he do that? It is very gross. No, I don't want that mail now. And Spanky is all messed up. Lock him up, lock him up, lock him up.
Bah, humbug. Who gives a fuck about the Christmas anyway? Happy holidays.
Those were good. And fun. And it was a lot of fun. So if you guys are interested, I am doing a Christmas special on Christmas Eve where I will have the full Santa regalia on, and trust me, it's a little hot in here. So it's a sacrifice I'm making. So I was doing these Christmas songs tonight as like a preview of Wednesday night's Christmas Eve special. So I hope you can join me for that. It should be a lot of fun. I have one more song to take us out. I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit, but I think you all know this song. It's a little different, but it's the 12 Days of Shutdown. On the first day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me a failing democracy. On the second day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me 2 broke pencils and a failing democracy. On the third day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me 3 scammed seniors, 2 broke pencils, and a failing democracy. On the fourth day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me 4 foreclosed homes, 3 scammed seniors, 2 broke pencils, and a failing democracy. On the 5th day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me 5 empty plates. Four foreclosed homes, 3 scammed seniors, 2 broke pencils, and a failing democracy. So I'm not going to take you through all 12 days because that's too much. That's too much. You get the idea. But fun fact, it was more than 12 days of shutdown, mind you. This was the longest shutdown in history. I think it was 53 days of shutdown. Can you guys fact check me on that? I think it was 53 or 54 days of shutdown. I will play the 12th day for you. On the 12th day of shutdown, the MAGAs gave to me 12 lobbyists gloating, 11 voters fuming, 10 cabinet scandals, 9 soldiers waiting, 8 nurses quitting, 7 jobs are vanishing, 6 schools are locking. 5 empty plates. Four foreclosed homes, 3 scammed seniors, 2 broke pencils, and a failing democracy. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, so, excuse me. Do you guys have any questions for me? Asmila says, let me set my clock. Yes, please do that. And let's see. Sterling Silver Rose is still mad at the Democrats that caved. Yes. Yeah, me too. But I'm looking forward. I am looking forward now. We did say our piece. We did let those people know. I think one of those was John Fetterman. I'm done with John Fetterman. And mind you, I don't think we're doing a swap of politicians. Like, it's not like a John Fetterman for Marjorie Taylor Greene, because she's still an awful person, despite the fact that she is saying some of the right things about. She's actually been one of the people who's been throwing shit at Trump, disagreeing with him on the Epstein issue, on healthcare. But she's still an awful person there. Angus King. Sharon Landry says one of them was our Senator Angus King. Yeah. Joanne Kennedy wants to know what time Christmas Eve it's going to be. 6:30 p.m. Wednesday. And Lucy wants to know, did you finish your Christmas shopping? Mostly. Yeah, just right now it's just a little bit of nicks and knacks things that I got to get. But I try to get that out of the way as early as possible, because I remember there was a time when I was very disorganized, like growing up. And when I say growing up, I mean even in my early to mid 20s, I still considered that period of my life still growing up. But I had responsibilities, and one of my responsibilities was to, buy Christmas gifts, and it sucks. I remember being in a department store like late, last minute, like the night before or 2 nights before, and the shelves are empty, and it looks like a bomb hit the store, and you cannot leave that for the last minute. So I like to take times in my life when I experience extreme stress and use that as a learning, to learn from my own mistakes. So, yeah, earlier is better for the shopping. Tina Bradford still has to wrap her 2 dolls in pencils. What a ridiculous. Where did he get 2 dolls and 2 pencils? Like, do you not have a clue how regular people live? Is that what he thinks that everybody's out to get now? It's not PS5s and whatever that doll. There's a doll out there, I forget. It's pencils. That's what everybody's in a rush to go get. And only 2, because, pencils are expensive. A box might cost you $3. Esmila J has to get the cat a present. Let's see. Esmila also wants to watch Frankenstein tonight. I'm not sure what I'm watching tonight, but I know this weekend I am looking forward to seeing the new Avatar movie, Fire and Water. I love the first 2 movies, so I'm definitely going to see this one, despite the fact that I know it's 3 hours. It's a 3-hour movie. And I'm also looking forward to seeing the trailer for the Christopher Nolan movie, which is it The Odyssey? Yeah, The Odyssey. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that too. Well, yeah, no clue what I'm watching tonight. This weekend, I will be doing some work. I think I mentioned to you guys earlier that this show, Storytime with BDD, is not long for this world, as it is evolving. I'm evolving the show into the Defiant Weekly. So I will be spending the next few weeks creating my stuff, my collateral, so to speak, my logos and my intros and the this and the that. So stay tuned. I'll probably still be Fridays at 6:30 p.m. But it's going to have a different name and maybe a different format. Then we'll see what happens here. So anyway, those of you who are joining me on Christmas Eve, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I look forward to it. We're going to have a lot of fun. And those of you who are unable to attend, I thank you for joining me for today's episode of Storytime with BDD. And overall, I thank you for joining me, period, this year. This has been a wacky, insane, really, really insane year. And if you're exhausted, join the party. I am too. But I feel hopeful about 2026. I feel like we have some momentum starting to build up. I see that Donald Trump is stumbling and the Democratic Party is starting to figure out how to fight him. So that's that. Guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, a.k.a. Brooklyn Dad. And I look forward to seeing you here Christmas Eve, same place, same time. I love you all. Peace. And Merry Christmas.